string 5 now, okay? And going to do the same bit that we were doing over here where we're putting it into the hole of the bridge, followed by the peg. Press that guy in and pull. Okay, so that's nice and caught there, and we bring this down, putting this into the 5th peg, and putting that loop right there. Okay, now remember what we said before. What we're going to do is we're going to give a little bit of slack, and the thinner the string, the more slack we're going to give it so we can get more wind. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to pull it back a little bit more, so more than I did last time, and I'm going to twist it like this. The reason that I'm twisting it like that, like a little hurricane, is because when I start doing this, ooh, look, that works out perfectly, as if I planned it. Alright, so now I take my first finger, kind of do this. Look what I'm doing over here. I'm holding it tight. I'm not just doing this and winding. Right? Doing that, and now twisting.
I think the technical term for that is cattywampus.
Cattywampus. We don't want the strings cattywampus. Okay, so again, listening. We just want them basic, you know, just kind of bring them up to a basic pitch. We're not going to tune it for a minute yet. And I'm bending these away just so they're out of the way. We'll clip them later on. Okay, so now we're going black. Alright. Put this guy into the 4th hole and then pressing this down, bringing it over, 4th peg, and again we're going to leave some space here. We're going to bend it like that, so that when we tune it up, look, it's perfect. Okay, keeping it tight with my hand here, but keeping my finger guiding this to where the string is underneath and keeps spiraling down. You want it to spiral down, you don't want it to spiral up, and you don't want it to stack on top of each other. Okay, so now we got a lot of nice winds on there. Okay, so we got that basic tune there like that. Okay. So I've had these slip out before. That's not fun. Okay, 3rd string, same deal. Put it in the hole here. Bring it down. Insert that guy right there. Now you're going to back it off quite a bit on this one. That's how much I'm doing. And I'm going to bend that like this. Okay. String winder makes things go so much faster, so they're really cool. They even have drills that do this, you know, little electronic instruments that do this. Make it really quick for people that are changing their strings a lot. I don't change my strings enough to do that. Purple string, so the 2nd string, nice and, ooh, that's pretty. All right.
That's in the key of
which is not used very often.
No, only in
the key of
Kazakhstan, I think, is where it's used.
Kazakhstan. So put that guy in there now. Thin string. So now we're going to provide a lot more slack here. Okay, maybe that much. And this becomes a little bit of a pain in the tuchus because now you got to be doing a lot of winding on this, on the 2nd and 1st string. So again, I'm going to take my 1st finger, put it here to make sure that that string is winding down. If you let go, it's going to double up, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so every now and then you get this where the peg will actually come up. Just press it down again, pull. You might get some sounds like that. Sometimes you'll bust a string. That sucks. But sometimes you'll just get noises that sound like you're busting strings. That's because things are settling, meaning that string in there is getting where it's supposed to be when it's tight. Okay, so now everything's lined up, and if you notice, each string lines up directly to the peg. We wouldn't want this string, say, going to this side of the peg, because then it would be rubbing against this string, and when you have that, then that's how strings break and strings go out of tune and all that stuff. So, high E string. Now, because this string is so thin, especially on electrics, I don't like to set a bunch of winds like we did before. I like to tie a knot in it. What we're going to do is literally tie a knot. Just like this. It's good.
Dude, you could have been a surgeon.
I'm a surgeon of guitars. So there, now I have a knot in it. So now that guy is not going to slip. That's why we did all these winds, is so it would not slip. I also didn't want to have to wind a million times, and obviously I did a great job there, because I'm going to have to wind like 700 winds on this guitar. So I pay Dave specifically to do this all day long on my guitars, and he's good.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm holding this down so that the winds go down, and I'm holding it taut over here. You can see what I'm doing there with my right hand. Okay, stop. And so what we're doing is just getting it in basic tune. Okay, we're just to where they're a little bit tight. Okay, and so if you've played guitar for a bit, you kind of know what it should feel like when you pull on these strings. You know that they shouldn't be all floppy, you know. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm just trying to bring them up to basic pitch. If you don't know what that is, then get out the tuner, and it's going to take you a lot longer. Let's talk about removing these strings. Okay, so some people will actually take these and clip them off like this, and there'll always be a bit of string sticking out that you always stick into your finger, which is not fun. So I like to do this method using what's called metal fatigue, and you just kind of wear the metal out by going back and forth until it snaps off. The last string, sometimes you can do this, and sometimes you've got to, because this string is so thin, sometimes you can't snap it off. That one snapped off easy. Okay, so there you go. So now it looks all good, but now we got to bring it up to pitch. Now, when you're tuning your guitar for the first time after you've put new strings on, they're going to be really, really loose. Not only are they going to be really loose, they're going to stretch out a lot. So what that means is you're going to end up pulling it up to pitch. So for instance, there's an E, that guy's in tune. Now watch this. You can take both of your hands. First, you're going to take your index fingers, tuck them underneath the string, put both of your hands on the strings like this, and pull up. And I just kind of rock it a little bit. You don't want to just pull straight up, obviously, because then you don't have any control, and you're just going to snap the string or break something on the guitar. So this way you have control over it, and the point is you're stretching the string out. Now watch what happens. See, we're down to a D sharp already, so now we need to bring it back to an E. I'm going to stretch it again. And it was flat again. Stretching it again. And now we're pretty good. So once you can stop stretching it, and once it stays in tune, then you can stop stretching it, and it's totally fine. And you won't have to do it anymore, and you won't go out of tune a million times on the stage. Okay, so boom. And then we can just do the same thing with the A. Here's another thing that I do. If you watch my video on tuning, you'll know that you can tune the strings according to a string that's in tune. In this case, we're going to do the E string. So if we go to the A here, we Tune that string. Now the A string's tuned. Now I can tune the D string. Now the D string's tuned. Tune the G. The B string now. And the high E. Bam, okay? So now we're basically in tune. Now, even though we stretch these strings out, they're still gonna go out of tune a little bit, just a little bit probably. But you wanna stretch them out as much as possible so that when you do go to play, you don't have to keep going out of tune. All right. In tune, new strings. Oh, and it sounds so nice.
Rock it.
Your Guitar Sage out.